Tesla bot at AI Day 2. Is it fake? I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla Weekend. This is the full version of the show on Fridays on the second channel, where I'm really trying to get to the correct number of subscribers. 1,000, that's my target. Join us over there, won't you, for the Friday Livestream. It may also be the condensed version you see over the weekend on the main channel. It's the one you see on the screen. You know which one it is. So there was this great article by The Verge. The Verge. When you're on the verge of news. Elon Musk says Tesla's fake robot may be ready by September 30th. And I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona you should check out. Oh, Mr. Hawkins. What a terrible article. And I shall tell you why. First of all, let's look at this. In a tweet that is definitely not meant to distract from the news that he's planning on laying off about 10% of his workforce. Is he, or did you not actually read it? Because this has been covered super heavily over the past week. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said that he was shifting the company's AI Day event from August to September in anticipation of being able to show off a working Optimus prototype. Look at that word, prototype. I wonder if that's going to come back later in the video. You'll recall that Optimus was the name given to the humanoid robot that Elon said will take off the repetitive, boring tasks that humans do. The robot was revealed during Tesla's last AI Day in August. And with all things Musk, it's difficult to parse the reality from the smokescreen of bullshit. You know what? This is supposed to be a serious article, and I can't even quote it for fear of being demonetized. Okay. After promising to reveal a working prototype sometime in 2022, the evening was capped by a person in a spandex costume. Promising, you say, huh? Promising. A pledge to do, bring about, or provide. To suggest beforehand, give promise of, to make a promise. Is that what he did? Let's take a look at CNET here. Will it be ready? Can you believe him? Musk announced the auto company would have a prototype ready as soon as next year. That's this year now. As soon as. So if it is provided this year or some other year after this, that is as soon as 2022. That's not a promise, Andrew. We continue. Tesla's history is littered with fanciful ideas that never panned out, like a solar-powered supercharger network. Do you remember that? Because I didn't. So I followed their link to this, the Tesla Motors Supercharger event in 2012. They only had 6 locations at the time, and this event announced them. Let's see what they got to say.
Goes to the supercharger and then to the cars. So what we're able to do here with the supercharger is charge at about 100 kilowatts. And going forward, potentially as much as 120 kilowatts.
Potentially as much as 120. Wow. So you have to go back 11 years to find something. Now here's the thing with putting solar on every supercharger station. You got to get permits. You can't get permits in every place. You can't do it. You deploy your resources where you can. And in many cases, it just doesn't make sense. But 100 to 120 kilowatts, we are at 324. So he beat your expectation by 3 to 3.5, pretty good. And also, I don't know if you know this, but Tesla Solar made more energy than its cars and factories used over the lifetime of the company. Tesla reported that as of the end of the year, its solar panels have produced more electricity than was consumed by all its cars and factories. That was the objective, to put more back in the grid than they took out. And they have. They weren't able to do it with supercharger stations. But supercharger stations have become vastly more popular than we thought. And bigger in many cases. You can't have a canopy sufficient to charge 100 cars and put it on top of a 100-car station. You just can't do it. Battery swapping. A fanciful idea like battery swapping. So battery swapping seemed like a good idea. Again, we're going all the way back to 2013. Model S is designed to allow a fast battery swap. Well, why didn't it happen? It's a fanciful idea. I don't think fanciful is the right word. Other companies are doing it. NIO has battery swap, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work because it takes a tremendous amount of space and infrastructure, and for every battery you have laying around waiting for someone to drive in and use it, that's one car you can't build because batteries are the constraint. EV battery swapping, better idea or a big boondoggle? This author suggests battery swapping may have seemed like a good idea a decade ago. Oh, that's about right. When most EVs had ranges under 100 miles and public charging barely existed. However, in 2021, Ulrich writes, battery swapping in EVs has become an especially bad idea. Most people would never need one. And all those batteries just sitting around that could otherwise be in cars. But there's also the fact that we've moved over to structural battery packs. If you've got a structural battery pack, replacing it with a swappable one would mean you'd need to have double the strength. You need to have the strength of the battery plus the strength of the car. We can drop a lot of weight, 100, 200, 300 pounds off every car on the road and save vastly more power. This swapping batteries is a bad idea, and they dropped it. What else was a fanciful idea? Robotic snake-style chargers. You remember those? Ooh, it's fun. But these weren't promised. These were prototypes. These were ideas that they were considering. And this could still be a thing in the future, especially for an autonomous fleet. This isn't a dead idea. And if anyone bought a Tesla assuming that they could get a snake charger, well, I would posit that they're less intelligent than some authors I have encountered in the Tesla space. Elon Musk proposes city-to-city travel by rocket right here on Earth, anywhere on Earth, in under an hour. Yeah, it's a fanciful idea. It is fanciful. But the first thing to note is that, and I don't know how many of you watching know this, SpaceX and Tesla are two different companies, and this rocket is still in development. This could still happen. I doubt it, but it could. But he ended his talk with a pretty incredible promise. There's that word again. I'm starting to wonder, do words have meaning? Words by themselves do not have meanings. Well, I'll be. I did not see that coming. The meanings of words we read in a dictionary were assigned by lexicographers, and they depend on the meanings given to the words by humans. Well, that's literally the craziest thing I've read today. And I mean it metaphorically because literally doesn't mean literally. It means virtually or metaphorically or practically. And it has for a very long time. A very long time. What have we got? Dickens here we're looking at? Yeah, here we go. 1847. There we go. James Joyce, F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I do mean F. Scott Fitzgerald. Francis. Doesn't sound right. It's hiding something. Or a self-driving car you could summon from across the country. Now this one gets a lot of play. Does it deserve it? Elon did say in 2016 that it would be ready by 2018. Very good at generating headlines, especially when there's bad news to distract. You know who else said we'd have self-driving cars? Everybody. Nissan vows self-driving cars by 2020. This was originally in 2013, but they reiterated it every year up until late, I think 2017 was the last time I saw it. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's easy. Every time an AI company starts these ventures, they make huge progress immediately. 90%. 99%, 99.9%. Oh my gosh, we're almost there. And then the March of Nines kicks in and you realize it's gonna be a lot of work. Google is on track to see its self-driving cars on the road by 2020. And we're not talking about the pilot program. They were talking about generally. He told the audience his 11-year-old son would be eligible to get a driver's license in 4.5 years, but hopes he won't need one because Google's automated vehicles will be widely available on the mainstream market. That would have been 2019. Maybe 2020. Where's the heat for them? Bloomberg, Apple planning to launch its own car by 2020, and theirs was going to be self-driving too, it was speculated. Ford launches Blue Cruise and how it works. Well, so you see, Blue Cruise and Super Cruise, they're terrible. But unlike Tesla, they claim 100% of the revenue just by under-promising on the system. They say, yeah, it's just fancy cruise control is what it is. Do you want to know where you can use it? Well, I live on the West Coast. Let's take a look and see if we got a map. So in my state, there are 2-3 roads that you can drive it on. In Oregon, there's 2-ish. In Nevada, there's 2. In Montana, there's 2. In North Dakota, there's 1. In South Dakota, there's 1. This is worthless. And it's expensive. Where's the hate? Well, because they don't promise. Right. Their approach can't deliver. Cadillac can now drive itself in more places than ever. Look at that. So much better than Ford. No, it's worse. The blue hasn't been added yet. Terrible. Terrible. And they're claiming 100% of the revenue as profit. Or at least as on the books towards profit. It hits the P&L just like that. Where's the hate? What's going on? Unless we forget, Tesla is still under investigation for the tendency of its vehicles to crash into parked emergency vehicles while using the same AI software that will supposedly power this robot. Andrew is not a fool. I don't believe he is. If you're watching this, Andrew, you're welcome to leave a comment letting me know if you're a fool, but I don't think you are. I don't believe it. I believe you're doing something different than being foolish. Because it's a different stack, man. Tesla is making good progress on using a single stack for FSD beta. They're different stacks. That is well known. And by the way, Andrew, if you are watching this, let's have an interview. I would love to get all this out of the way. And so let's talk about that link. U.S. government opens probe into Tesla autopilot crashes with emergency vehicles last year. And this is from The Verge. Not from him, it's from James Vincent. Let's see what he says. The inability of driving assistance software from Tesla and other automakers to spot parked emergency vehicles is well known. That's weird. I feel like this qualifier could have been in the original article we're discussing here. I don't know why it isn't. Building a human-replacing robot is something no company on Earth is close to achieving. I would agree. Even Boston Dynamics, which makes one of the most advanced bipedal robots in the world, has never described its machine as anything other than experimental. Agreed. Its Atlas robot still frequently trips and falls, despite over a decade of work. Agreed. If you think Musk is going to be able to leapfrog that work in a year, who said in a year? I feel like you had already said prototype. I wonder if that has a meaning. An original model on which something is patterned, an individual that exhibits the essential features of a later type, a standard or typical example, a first full-scale and usually functional form of a new type or design of a construction, such as an airplane, or a robot. No one said it was going to be production ready. I mean, if you heard that, believe me, you'd put that in the article. Tesla AI Day pushed to September 30th as we may have an Optimus prototype working by then. They didn't say they have one. They didn't say they will have that one. He definitely didn't say he promises to have one. He said we may. Humanoid robots built by high school intern at NVIDIA. Did you know that building a prototype of a humanoid robot is not that hard? Do you know it's something that an amateur Chinese inventor could do in his apartment? Something that walks, can't fit out the door, but otherwise is functional? Did you know that Google is in the final stages of making its own robot? Did you know that Dyson has secretly been building their own humanoid robots to do all the chores? I guess that's not super humanoid, but it's mobile. It's intelligent, it's got articulation and skills. It does dishes. I mean, a prototype is easy. Production is hard. So get mad about production, but fake, Andrew. Who is this guy? Oh, he's a transportation editor at The Verge. So he should know better. He covers ride-sharing services, public transit infrastructure, autonomous vehicles, electric bikes, and the physical act of moving through space and time. He lives in New Jersey with his wife, 2 kids, and many different brands of peanut butter. See, I'm not the only one who likes to crack wise. He's got some great articles. Mostly he's fair, except to Tesla. Tesla has a new feature that will disable your seat controls if you keep messing with them. No, it times you out so you don't burn out the motor. Tesla hails its second profitable year as a breakthrough. SEC subpoenas Tesla over Elon's tweets again. Tesla owners report dozens of instances of phantom braking. Tesla's phantom braking problem. I mean, this guy goes on and on. He's awfully fair to a lot of companies. He's critical of some, sometimes. And he just seems to have a personal distaste for all things Elon. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can correct me. Maybe you know what it's like being on the verge of news, the verge of factual, the verge of honest and ethical. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to hear your feedback. We're going to drop into the Q&A hole, drop in my Q&A hole here in a minute. It's just gross. It's gross is what it is. A quick thanks to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, all that good stuff. Keep the channel running. Get a look at my 11-year production prediction tracker. Well, there it is, and there you go. If you want to see the full, uncut, 30-ish minute version of this episode, head over to the second channel, link in the description, and subscribe over there if you want to catch these live each Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific, as well as the Fast Charging with B&B podcast, co-hosted with Bear from Bear's Workshop. So, what did I miss or misunderstand? Tell me in the comments, and stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear from you clever robots on the other side.